Hey, this is Bruce Cook. This is going to be an update, my super hot pepper seedlings. And it's not just going to be an update, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. So, I am finally starting to put my pepper seedlings into these slightly larger cups. So, for starters, I'll show you what I am using. I'm taking these things out of the seedling tray, which I'll show you here in a minute, but I'm actually transitioning these things into, I got these from Walmart. Obviously, you see the Great Value brand logo on there. And these are just little tiny 3-ounce plastic cups. So, and they're labeled on the packaging, bath cups. So, they're really small. When the seedlings start to outgrow these things, I'm going to put them in a little bit larger cups. And I'm going to keep on doing that until finally, when the weather is warmer, I will obviously put them into much larger containers. So, but for now, I am transplanting them out of the seedling tray into these little cups. But I'm not only doing that, I am also, I have to completely change out the soil. So I had a bit of a problem with a little bit of mold growth. So the first week I was germinating these things, I had the big lid on top of this tray base. So I had this over top that was to trap the moisture inside, and obviously I have a heating mat behind here to warm it up. Now the first several days, after I had got everything sown and put that lid on, the moisture inside of the soil in these things never didn't evaporate enough. The soil held onto the moisture for several days in a row. And if you know anything about gardening and doing this stuff, the soil, if it stays wet and stays warm, which I was keeping this seedling heating mat on 12 hours on, 12 hours off, that can provoke mold growth. So I did have a little bit of mold growth, and I don't want that soil, that old moldy soil, to end up in, the next containers that I was moving these up into. So what I have done, which I'll show you, as you can see, I already have, well, I got 4 of the red ghosts transplanted so far. The 5th one that you're seeing was already in there. But so what I'm doing is, as you can see, I have a lot of this had already dried up, but several of these things you can see a white little film of mold on the surface of the soil. That's no good for the plants. I actually had a higher germination rate than what you're seeing right here, but a few of these seedlings, they were starting to come up over the soil, and they didn't get moisture in time. So what I've been doing was, it's something I did last year, I found that works really well, is I just simply put water in inside of the base right here, and I allow the seedling heating mat to evaporate it up into the soil. So usually that works just fine. But when I was doing that, but at the time I was doing that, there was still a lot of seedlings that hadn't germinated yet, and when they did, the soil was drying out, and it was not really good for some of these small seedlings. So by the time I caught it, the seedlings were already wilting. The stems on the things were already like shriveled up. So I lost at least a good 3 or 4 of them. No, it really sucks because some of these were my chocolate primatelis, and as you can see, there's only 2 seedlings that are still up over the soil, and you could probably see a little bit of that white in there. But I'm going to have to resow some of these seeds because, especially my chocolate primatelis, those were my star pepper plants last year. They sold the best. They made the spiciest hot sauce that I made, and I definitely need more than just 2 plants. So I guess so I'm going to be sowing some more seeds. But anyways, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So I'm basically taking the seedlings out of here. I'm shaking all of the old soil out of them and giving them a rinse. I have a spray bottle of water. That's going to be helping me, and I'm still using the Miracle Grow seedling starter potting mix. And once these things get big enough and then I transition them into larger cups, I will begin to use indoor potting mix, which will have more nutrients and stuff in them that these plants will need while they're growing. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. Get you back on my camera stand. Okay, we're going to turn you over here. So this is essentially, let me make sure everything's in the frame that I need in the frame. I can't really see what's going on here. So here we're gonna. All right, I am hoping everything's in the frame. So this is essentially what I'm doing. So I got all my red ghosts done, and the next up is going to be I got these abbreviated. That's CB. That's abbreviations for chocolate bootla. So we're just gonna throw that in there. So I already have all of them filled up with soil. At the moment, all the soil is dry. We're gonna be wetting it, and I'll show you exactly how I'm doing all this. So first thing I do is I take the cup that I'm gonna use a spray bottle of water, and I'm really hoping this is in the frame. Okay, I think it is. All right, so we're gonna wet the soil first. Okay, as you can see, I did it until I see water dripping out the bottom. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm gonna set that right there. So I had all of these cups stacked up on top of each other, and I actually took my drill bit, and I drilled these cups from the bottom up. So if you do it from the bottom up, there's going to be less plastic sticking out the bottom. You don't want a whole bunch of plastic sticking out the bottom, because when you go to set them down, they're going to end up wobbling. But yeah, I did that. So there's a drainage hole. You're going to want a drainage hole for when you water the plants, because you don't want the water to be trapped in the cups in the bottom, because it'll pool up, and it is possible to drown the roots of these things. So you're going to want the drainage holes in there. But anyways, I got that wet. I have a straw, and I'm using the straw to dig a hole in there for where I'm going to be setting the seedling. So, and it might be still be a little dry inside of there. This one I got thoroughly wet, so I don't have to worry about that happening. So you can see I dug a hole all the way to the bottom, and then I am using a here, we'll set that right there. I'm using a butter knife. I prefer to use something that's not sharp at the end, but this will help me pull the seedling up and out of the tray without harming it. So before I do this, I'm just going to explain when I'm doing this. It's recommended to not be handling the stems of these little seedlings with your fingers, because if you're not careful, if you end up pinching the stem a little too hard with your finger while you're holding it, you got to remember these things got a circulatory system in them, and if you end up pinching it too hard, obviously you're going to damage its ability to have nutrients go up through the plant between the roots and the rest of the plant. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to be digging it up. Immediately, I'm going to be smacking the bottom of the plant where it's holding onto all the dirt. So that way, I'm also eliminating the weight of the soil as quickly as possible. So I don't have to worry about the weight of it causing more strain on the plant while I'm holding it this way. So this is what I'm doing. So I'm going to put this up underneath. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I am going to hold on to the plant. I'm going to keep the butter knife underneath there just to help support the weight. So I can feel this thing was already starting to go through the bottom. So, and then I'm going to give it a smack on the bottom. So I'll just show you. Hopefully you're getting that. I'm trying to get all of that old soil out of there. So that's kind of what I'm left with right there. Then I'm going to spray. Try to rinse it off as best I can. Alright. So then the next thing I'm going to do is, if you remember, I got that hole inside of there. I'm just going to simply drop this into here gonna let it bottom out. You want to get in there nice and deep, and you don't want to get it down there so far that the soil ends up, making contact with the leaves, because that can cause burn on the leaves. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flick the bottom of it. That'll help the soil to drop down onto the roots and the stem of the plant. Okay, let's try to keep this thing straight. There. Now this thing's these didn't give me a hard time when I was doing this off camera, so just wants to give me a hard time. So I'm giving it a few good flicks. So that allowed the soil to drop down onto the plant side, because you don't want big old air pockets or gaps in there. You want the soil to make contact with the entirety of the root system and the stem of the plant. So if the soil is not contacting the roots, it can't provide nutrients to the roots. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this up with more water. As we can see, there was still dry soil in there. I'm going to do this over this so I don't get water on the floor. And I'm also going to be topping the cup off with more soil. I'm going to do that until I see some water dripping out the bottom. A little bit more. Oh, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to straighten that up a little bit. Now I'm going to take this, and so I'm just going to be dropping soil down in there and just trying to chop it off. And that extra soil will also provide more support for the seedling to help keep it standing upright. Giving that a little spray, just with the top layer of soil wet. Should see some dripping here in a second. Yep, there we go. Alright, so that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm just giving a new soil, since the old soil had a little bit of mold growth in there. And let me set this on top of here. So for now, I am going to be, let's get this up. So for now, with these, while they're in these smaller containers, while they can fit in this, I'm going to be putting them in here. That'll help also keep water from getting onto my base of my grow box. And I am going to be keeping my my grow light up nice and high. I am not in a hurry to get these seedlings to grow as quickly and as fast as possible. I made that mistake last year by actually starting my seeds in October. And it got to the point where everything was so crowded in my grow box that it was kind of suffocating the plants. And that's why I had to put these fans inside of my grow box. I have I got one on one side and one on the other, one blowing air in, one blowing air out. It was allowing for circulation underneath all the plants, so that way they could breathe. And but for now, I am gonna keep the grow lights up real high. It's recommended to have them lower, but I'm not. I'm running a T5 light. My other two cheaper LED lights kind of shorted out on me last year, so I gotta work with the T5, and the T5 can create more heat. And I'm not taking any risks, since I'm not growing very many plants this year. I don't want to take risks that I know could cause damage to the plants. So, and I'm also going to be shutting the heating mat off. Now, if I kept the heating mat on and it kept the soil warm, these plants would grow a lot faster. But like I said, I'm not in a hurry to get these things to grow super fast. So it's the beginning of January. Today is January 8th, and I still have a few months to go. And I know once I get them outside, I know how to get them to grow really fast once they're out there. So not in a huge hurry. But anyways, that's my update. Just wanted to bring you all along for the ride, show you what I'm doing. So I hope y'all enjoyed that video, and I will catch you in the next one.